This is Right Heart, Wrong Hands. I'm super excited to welcome you to this podcast on all things relationship and matters of the heart. Join me on this journey as we live, learn, and lighten. Okay. Hello, kings and queens. You're welcome to today's episode of Right Heart, Wrong Hands. As you can see, with a big smile on my face, I have someone with me. So today I'm tagging it a sit-down session with my big sister, my mentor. She's lots of things I would say because she's been a big part of my journey thus far. So without further ado, I just would like to introduce you to someone that I call Sister J. To you, it is Sister J. But to Jumoke Eyitayo, please round of applause to her. You are very welcome to today's episode. So guys, the reason why I wanted her to be here today, like I mentioned, she's been a big part of my journey and she's seen me grow. I've learned a lot from her. We can be very like-spirited and like-minded. And you would, if the other day we were even talking, I was saying that usually because of the kind of personalities we are, it's a surprise that we actually get why you not here.
I agree.
And so easy to get along with.
Excuse me.
We have lots of conversations, so I wanted us to come today to have a very organic conversation on life in general, to get her own perspective, some of the wisdom that we've shared together, but for you to hear it directly from her. So again, Sister J, you're very welcome. Okay?
Thank you.
So what I wanted us to get on with, Right Heart, Wrong Hands, is the older generation being able to be open and transparent about the journey in every phase of our lives, and hence the tag, we live, we learn, and we light up. And you don't a lot of the time see that, where people want to be vulnerable about their own journey. You've been married how long now?
I've been married 22 years, to be 23 years in December.
That's a long time, as you can imagine. For us, it's 16 years this year. So, in your own word, what has marriage been like?
Ooh, it's been a journey, learning curve.
I like
It's
that.
been like you plant a seed and you watch it grow. So it's been a growth journey. A lot of the time you see things. For example, with my husband, I think one of the things that drew me to him was the fact that he was a gentle spirit.
Oh,
He is a gentle spirit, not was. He is a gentle
He
spirit.
is, he very much
His
is.
quiet is. But in marriage, those very things that drew me to him, you find that sometimes you're thinking, seriously? Are you serious? Those things are sometimes the things that actually irritate you when you're in marriage. But I have seen us go from the highs to the lows to the rugged roads. But in everything and in all things, we bless God that we're still here.
And
So
I like the statement you made about marriage being a journey. And you know the thing about journeys, it's never the same. No journey is ever the same, and it's something that I really want us to get across today. Your journey will not be the same as my journey.
No.
Even in our marriage, in our careers, how we raise our children, in life in general. One thing you said was that what drew you to your husband was his gentle spirit. I want to press in on that slightly. Okay. How would you describe your own temperament?
Ooh, I'm feisty. I would say I can be reserved. I could even say I'm quiet.
No,
even though most people, I can be reserved, but at the same time, I'm real. I'm I say it as I say it as I feel it. I say it as I see it. In today's world of my truth, your truth, and all of that. But from my perspective, basically, I don't know how to. So what you see is what you get. That's me.
That's okay. But over the years, how have you been able to kind of marry that together? So 23 years, it's not easy. It's not an easy number. And for those that have been married for a minute, you know that marriage has its highs, its lows, like you mentioned. So there definitely would be characters or characteristics or values that have kept you together. And I'm sure it's maybe because of the way both of you have had to come to compromise. That's the word. That's the word.
Okay. Where do I start from? I would say, for example, because my husband is gentle, and it's something I've always said to you, my husband and I have never had an argument like a shouting, like we're telling each other off. No, because you're trying to have an argument with my husband and he's just looking at you.
I can imagine.
When he's looking at you, anybody that walks in will be like, please, what's wrong with this crazy person? So I think in my journey, I have just learned to kind of calm down and come to his level where we have a civil conversation rather than, well, husband he doesn't do shouting, he doesn't do raised voices. You get, he doesn't even like confrontation because then he's just okay. And at that point, you cannot talk, you can't actually get anything across. So I think for me, I'm sure also for him, it would probably be that, but let me just let her be. When she's ready, then we'll talk about it.
And it's funny that you said that your husband and yourself, he's very quiet, which percentage is very quiet, and you can be the fiery one. Even with two marriages here, I know my marriage is very different because my husband and I, we have two different temperaments, not like your one. So you can imagine, and the reason why I'm bringing this is this culture of social media and how social media is really affecting relationships out there, where people are comparing. And we're talking about divorces these days and all of that. And even young people, the way they have their ideas when people are in relationship, because people are putting up their best foot forward.
Yeah, right.
But people are putting their best foot forward, the pictures, the holidays. Oh, look at what my
all the best roses.
Exactly. So how do people kind of come to that road of being contented in focusing on their own journey? Because I think that's one of the things that is really causing people to kind of fall away in their relationship or not even be contented in their relationship. Am I making sense?
Yes, you are. And I think it's all about knowing who you are. It's all about you yourself. What do you want? I remember I had this friend when we were in uni. It was that period of our lives where, we were dating and, getting people interested in you, people that would get married to you. My friend was dating somebody and we used to tease her a lot at when you guys get married, your husband will say, I does. When they ask you, will you marry? Your husband will say, I does.
So basically, it was not that educated.
Was educated. It's just that sometimes he got its tenses and his grammar mixed up a little bit. So we used to make fun of her, and the group of friendship we were in were very big on the grammar. We were very big on you make a grammatical error, somebody's like, "Blah, blah." You just shut that person. So, but one thing that I remember clearly and I respect till tomorrow about her was she went ahead, she went out with the person, they ended up getting married. We used to tease her and she was like, you know what? You guys are not going to live with me in my house.
Give her her flowers. Give her her flowers.
And for me, it was like, wow.
Yes.
You guys are not going to live with me in my house. So it doesn't really matter what you guys think of him as long as I am okay with him.
That's
Even though the grammar was not something that we thought she would accommodate, but she was like, okay. And at that point, everybody kind of backed off. And she was able to go on her journey. So I think it is you knowing what you want. It's not about what the other person is doing. It's not about what anybody else is doing in their lives.
No.
It's about you and the person you're in a relationship with. What can you take? What can you give? What do you want out of it? And it's about sharpening one another, really.
Definitely. And you saying that, it reminds me of even my journey. Obviously, she was at the very start. Even when my husband was dropping hints, I remember then I'll be like, I'll be making this that no. In fact, I was just in that phase. But you were very crucial. You're one of the people that said pray with me and come to you for like counsel when we were praying about him. I remember one of the things that you said to me that really stuck is basically, can I see a future with this person? And I think that comes down to what you just said about your friend.
Yeah.
You guys were seeing on behalf of her, but she had to see herself. And it comes down again to you understanding your worth and your value. And talking about worth and value.
Don't let's go there. Don't let us go there.
No, we have to go there because I found that when you think about peer pressure these days, which in a way that was what you guys were doing then.
Well,
yes,
it was a norm in Nigeria. Oh, okay. It was a norm at that time. It was banter.
Okay, banter.
Yeah.
We'll go with banter. Okay, so it was banter, but a lot of people I've lost my train of thoughts now.
No, because sorry, I would let you catch it back. But if you say the same pressure, because I remember in the same breath there was that my friend's husband that went ahead to marry that person. He had a friend that they was trying to set me up with, as at that time. And at the same time, first of all, I felt like I didn't see what the connection with the person they were setting me up with. And if I also wanted to yield to the peer pressure, I could have just, because everybody is getting hooked, I could have succumbed. But I was like, no. And I didn't. I didn't even welcome the idea in the first place.
And I guess you didn't welcome the idea because maybe you didn't see yourself in that person, or it was just not someone you vibed with.
Yes.
Generally,
I didn't think it was my kind of
your
person.
kind of person. But okay, for example, if it was your kind of person, but maybe your friends were teasing you just like that other girl, how do young people these days kind of build a resilience? Because everything is on social media these days, so it's very hard to hide things in quotes. So how do people deal with peer pressure? What is your advice for the younger generation in terms of peer pressure?
First of all, like I have been saying, you don't go through life on your own.
No, you don't.
So I think as a young person, you need someone that's older that is going on that journey with you.
Yes.
So if you've got someone that is going on that journey with you, because remember, you and your friends, you're all around the same age. The truth about it is no one knows better. Because you're all around the same age. You've lived similar experiences. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So a lot of them may think, oh, I know this, I know that, but do they have evidence? Do they have experience to back up what they're saying? They have their ideals or what they think or what they've seen somewhere.
Yeah.
That's one. Another part of it is social media is a fake life. But it's true.
Really?
If I take a photo with you like this, everybody thinks, oh, and who knows, maybe tomorrow, I'm like, Mercy, what on earth? Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's just one snapshot into those people's lives. You don't even know how they are behind closed doors. That's the truth. So my advice would be, have someone that you can actually go to. You guys can talk about it. Someone you trust that you can be real with.
That's the key word, real.
Exactly. So it's not about, just the same way you and I, you said you and I talked. Oh, okay. Because I remember at that time you were like, he's not wearing socks. What is socks what is socks in the whole
In the grand scheme of things.
Scheme of things?
Okay.
Do you get someone that is able to call it real with you, not somebody that's patter to what you want to hear?
Yes. Yeah, and pressing in on that, and it's good that you brought that up. So let's go there.
Okay.
So if you remember, I had just gotten out of a relationship.
Yes.
When my husband shortly after and if you remember after that,
You were like,
I'm done. I'm done. Okay, everybody, to your tent, oh Israel, I'm done. I don't want it's good. Let me just stay focused on my focus. So I think even looking back, I remember that I was really trying to draw out so many sort of excuses. Have you ever had to go through breakup before, and how?
Do we want to go there?
We went there. I jumped it. So come along.
Yes, I have. And I remember the last relationship I was in before my husband and I started courting. I'd been in the relationship for like 3 years. And we met each other, we clicked, and the guy from the beginning, he was so sure. You know when someone is so sure that they start to convince you. You're the one I want to get married to, blah, blah. And he was so romantic. He was one of those that for the days we didn't see, he would write me a note, make me a card. Oh, the whole what? Yeah. Come 3 years later, to be fair to him, it was still like that. This time, I was still in uni. He was working and he had to move around. But on one of the occasions, we were meant to go somewhere together. Phones were not that
common then.
In fact, there were no mobile phones as at then. So I tried to ring him because he went to his parents. He was moving to Abuja. He wasn't picking. We were meant to travel together. So I took a cab, went to his house, and when I got to his house, he wasn't home. So I met his cousin, and I was wearing a wristwatch. It was a very manly wristwatch, but I just used to wear it because you know how when you're going out with somebody, you just take one thing. So I used to wear the wristwatch. So because I could just feel a vibe, which was out of character for him. So I just felt like I had to give the wristwatch back because I just knew there was something wrong. So I gave the cousin the wristwatch and I said, when he comes back, could you please give this to me? And her comment was, is this what happens when people break up? And I was like, okay, why? What makes you think we've broken up?
Okay.
And the next thing, as I was on my way out, I met him. We went back. This was someone I said writes me a note every single day. The next thing, he was so old. He was old. And I was trying to have a conversation. He was packing his things. He was okay. In fact, I was like, and this is where the Jumoke comes out. I was like, please, just tell me, is it that you're not interested in the relationship again? Because I don't like to second guess. Is it that you're not interested? And it was like, no. And at this point, I just carried my bag. It was a small room. Do you know he couldn't even see me to the door? I just carried my bag and I was on my way out. For some reason, I just went back and I was like, I just need to ask, are you seeing someone else? And he said, yes. And when he said yes, do you know the truth? I just said, is it this person?
So you had a feeling.
I had, because he had been talking about her and he was, she's my friend, she's my friend, she's my friend. So I just said, is it this person? He said yes. At that point, I just carried my bag and I left. So, yeah. And that was it. I was heartbroken. You know how you're thinking? At this point, I was 25.
Wow. And you spent 3 years.
Yeah.
How long later did you meet your husband?
You know the funny part about it? I'd always known my husband before then because we went to uni together. and we liked each other, but where he left the uni, traveled abroad, we lost communication. At that point, when that happened, I went straight to a cyber cafe. At that time, cyber cafes and internet was just coming. So I went and was just sending emails. I was waiting for my sister because I was going home with my sister. So I was just sending emails. And my husband happened to be one of the people I sent an email to. He was just maybe like one of those forwarded message things. And, I forgot about it. 2 days later, I checked my email. He had sent me like 3 emails.
Hey, brother, I was waiting.
And when he sent me 3 emails, so that was how we established communication back. We were kind of chatting on and off. And at this time, he started to ask me out and all of that. But I had not seen him in like 6 years. So I wasn't so sure. Yes, I liked him earlier when we were in school, but I was just like, you know what? Let's wait till we see. If we see and we still have the same chemistry, maybe. Yeah. And we were talking. I'm sure this was maybe about April, May, June, thereabouts. Then he came home in December. And when he came home in December, we started going out. Yeah.
Oh, that's
and we courted for 1 year.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. It's funny that you talked about your own experience. That was what I wanted you to talk about. It mirrors what I went through because when I was in the relationship, lovely guy, nice guy, even had met my family. They liked him. He liked them. All of that. Blah blah blah. But the thing was that then later on in the relationship, I was feeling unease because I was at uni and he was in a different uni in a different city. And I felt an unease, and I used to say to my friend, I don't think this guy is being honest. There's something off. Then I was thinking, okay, because I was taking my relationship with God a lot more serious. I could feel the Holy Spirit really telling me that's not the relationship for me, that I needed to get out of that relationship. But I couldn't justify it. And that's some things we do. We feel like we have to justify. And Holy Spirit was really telling me that this is not where you should be. I remember telling my friends then, and they were like, miss, you have started now. The wire is touching again. The guy is lovely. If you meet him, he's like one of those butter would not melt. But long story short, ended up cheating. And I feel like God allowed that to happen because God knowing me that, you wanted reason. Here is your reason. And, at that point, we kind of, looking back, I'm great. I'm so grateful.
Same here.
I'm so grateful. And I say to people that things like that happen, you should even be thankful to God which means God has delivered you and God saved you because he's he's married now, and to the best of my knowledge they're doing well, and in my marriage we're doing well. So different strokes for different folks. But and I want to bring it to our relationship with God. For example, with you, when did you start taking your journey seriously?
I think I was on and off, because you see, as at that time when I broke up with the guy was professed to know God, but I think he himself was a little unstable. Me, on my part, I wouldn't lie, I was a little unstable. But for some reason, when I came out of that relationship, because I was really hurt, I kind of held on to God. I remember one of the scripture God gave me during that time, forgetting those things which are behind and looking onto those things which are ahead. So I held on to that. That was what pulled me through. And during that period, I started to go on this journey with God. I gave my life to Christ at a young age, but I wasn't always very faithful. I wasn't consistent. So
it's always that consistency.
Yes, it is that consistency. So me now coming on this journey, the way God used to speak to me then was, I just have a knowing. The knowing as at that time was, I wasn't even thinking about my husband. The truth about it is, but that you are going to marry, because at this time I was telling God, so at this age I'm 25. Where am I going to start from? And at this age, I'm even thinking, I'm not even sure I want to be in a relationship. I'm not even sure. Do you get it? And I had that knowing in my spirit you're going to get married to somebody you've always known.
Okay.
And you know how you just be checking, please, who are the people that I've always known?
Who is on that list?
That's me. But I couldn't pick out any. I couldn't
see.
see any. And you're not going to meet someone new, because what I was thinking was, at 25, how am I going to get to meet somebody new? For us to get to know each other, and then what? Am I sure I want another 2-3 years of all of this? Do you get? So it was just, I'm tired. I'm done. I'm not interested. And when there was that, oh, you're gonna get married to somebody you've always known. You're gonna get married to someone you already know. I could not find the person. Even when my husband started to talk to me, blah blah blah, and I said, we would talk about it. Even at that time, you know how they say when you're praying, pray for the specifics, say what you want in a man, have your list. Oh, I wanted tall, dark, and handsome, and all those things. My husband, he's not very tall. He's dark, he's handsome. So now here was the trick. After he asked me, it was now my battle with God. God, why is he not tall? God, why is he not tall?
You need to focus. You need to.
See, I had that battle with God, and I am glad I did. Because when I had that battle with God, at the time I left that church, till today, I have never even looked at his height, that, oh, he's short. It's never been a thing for me. It's not that I'll be like, oh, okay, he's and I look back, just like you said, I am glad I made that decision.
Yeah. I'm going to come back to this particular bit, but because I wanted to continue in the line of building relationship with God.
Okay.
Because I can a lot of things were resonating in my own journey. In that, during that season, I remember, after my breakup, I felt like I had not obeyed God. You said something about consistency. I'd given my life to Christ, young, coming to university, you get distracted and all of that. I met some really good people, and that was when I started coming to Still Favor, rededicated my life to God. I had this hunger and this passion to serve God. And that was when I know that God was basically trying to say to me, you are still holding on to
the old,
that to just basically let go, so that's to. And when all of that happened, I had so much guilt, because I felt like, oh my goodness, I had not obeyed God, even though I'm professing that, oh, I really want this change. So it was a really tough time, and I thank God for people in my life that was able to kind of help me, redirect as well. But I was really down on myself, because then I was thinking, God, that's it. I'm just going to all about you, because it was maybe roughly almost a year later that my husband came to the same church, because we met in church. So it was almost a year. So I was really enjoying myself with God, finding myself. It was a beautiful thing. It was in that season that I thought, okay, I'm going to actually get my driving license, all the things I had set to do. I was then focusing on me and my God and academics. If I was not at uni, I was in church or I was at home. You remember, I was really enjoying it. I remember when my husband started the church, I didn't even know, I had not seen him when in choir. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
We were in choir together. I did not know. It was one of my friends was like, this guy just keep messaging me. Then he used to send out all these forwarding message that you forward. So I was even teasing that, oh, maybe the guy likes you. I didn't even know that he was in the church, let alone in choir. So she was like, have you not seen the new guy? I said, I've not seen anybody. Could you not have seen? I said, I've not seen. She thought I was joking. So the next Saturday, she was now giving me that that's the guy, that's the guy. I was thinking, hey, okay. Point I was trying to make is that season, it was a case of, okay, God, it's me and you. I want to just build my relationship with you. And I think that season really, really helped me. The reason why I'm saying that, because I feel like especially women, there's this thing about change. This is both of us, and I know that there are loads of young ladies that might be out there. God is giving them instructions and they're saying, oh God, they're just trying to rationalize it, trying to make sense of it, trying to come up with their own ideas or navigate it, or even like Gideon, bargain with God to say, oh God, maybe let's do it like this, or God, let's do it like that. And I think that's the reason why I wanted us to, press and share my one in conjunction with yours. That when God is trying to take us out of something, that it's so important for us to just allow the Holy Spirit
and let God.
and let God. Because as believers, because we're believers, so that's the perspective we always come by, that God is always doing something. You mentioned something about age, you mentioned it twice. That you were just thinking, but just imagine that allowed that to be a deciding factor. Do you understand? You could have decided to say, okay, how are we going to work it, or even gone down a slippery slope of maybe even depression or whatever the case might be. Maybe that was the case, but at least God God restated. But in situations like that, it's just so important, the God factor. Because God wants our attention, and we have so many distractions. And sometimes, in quotes, those relationships
Are the distractions,
are the very distractions that when we let go of it, then God begins to show us the map to even better places.
I agree.
I love God. I think two things in this, right? Would be self-confidence, self-worth. That's the self-worth to come to the realization that, okay, I do deserve better.
And it's time to let go.
So for a lot of people listening out there, we can talk about it. When you're in it, it's not really easy, let's be honest. Like the phrase, letting go and letting God. Be it in different ways or different scenarios. We use relationship as one of those scenarios. But even when people are waiting on God. Okay, so going back to the other thing about when you were saying that you've always said to God, tall and handsome.
Yes.
Basically, the qualities you wanted in your partner. So, talking to a lot of youths, and which I do, they come up with the wildest things, and people come up with lists.
They live in la la la.
But again, it's the reality of what we're facing. It comes down to this whole social media. I don't know if I'm being unfair to social media, putting it on.
I don't think you're being fair.
Thank you for that. And I remember some youth were saying to me one time that, if the guy is not able to afford to buy a ring of this, they give
I've even heard someone say he must be making 6 figures. He must be making, and I'm thinking, please, what's wrong with your own hand? What is wrong with your hand? You just want to go and live off a man. That is you not having value or worth for yourself.
She said it before that she says it as is, and you just dropped it like it's hot. And no, it is true. It's what you said. I don't get it as well. I was having this conversation with my younger brother, and he was saying to me, "Oh, gee, the dating scene is very, very different to how it was," making me seem as if I'm old. I'm a young babe. I'm a young no. No, look at me. I'm a young. Let's not get it.
If you say so.
Yes, I say
if you
so.
say so.
So moving on swiftly.
Okay.
Moving on swiftly. And he was saying to me that as a young man wanting a lady that he could share his life with, and go on this journey called life. That's some of the things, some of the ladies, some of the things that they say they do. And I speak not just from the guys aspect. Some of the girls, they say things like, "Oh, the guy is expecting me to do this, to do that." How do we? No, as in seriously, what would be your advice looking back if you had to give advice to some young people out there waiting and believing God for a life partner? What would you say the focus should be?
Focus on character.
Ah,
Focus on God. What's the God factor in that guy's life? Because it is the God that will see you through. Because believe you me, it does not matter how much marriage is painted like a bed of roses. It ends on.
No, but still, people always say that marriage, and this is something that I feel like God was just saying to me one time.
That it is actually a bed of roses because it's God's organs.
Yeah. And that's what the challenge is, because we look at the pretty side, the petal side.
Yeah.
But hello,
He's bought me. Oh, he bought me a pet. Yeah. He bought me. But wake up, girl.
and you said it, so beautiful, because people focus on all the superficials, all the glory, but not the work, the intentionality that goes. Correct me if I'm wrong, because
No,
we need to be saying
Preach
this. The intentionality that goes into marriage, the work that you have to put in. You said something earlier on. It's putting a seed and watching it grow.
Yeah.
So there is that work of putting in something.
That when you're planting, the seed does not just grow by itself, because you've got weed that will go around it,
Trying to fight for its new. Oh, please, I beg.
So you have to be there, being watchful, being able to uproot, being able to pick out all the weed, being able to be watchful that the birds don't eat
the seed.
Yeah. Being able to be watchful that the bird don't even eat the fruit. Worms don't chew on the leaves.
But it takes character.
It takes character. It takes time. It takes intentionality.
And it takes God being at the center of it.
I know I wouldn't be here married if it weren't for God. There have been times on my marriage journey that I've been like, you know what? I don't think I can do this again.
No, I think a lot of people
I don't think I can do this again. I know in the first 2 years I kept doubting myself. Did I make the right choice? Did I get it right? Did I get it? But one thing I knew, even through that, was this was it. This was it. Regardless, this was it. I was going to make it work with God, by the grace of God. So it wasn't a situation of, okay, he did not look at me well tomorrow. And we had tough times, really difficult times. That even sometimes when I share with my family, my extended, the family I came from, that was a nuclear part of, I'm like, Jumoke, you went through that and you didn't tell anybody. I'm like, yeah. But it was my journey. It wasn't about them. It was my journey.
In all of this, we've been talking about, it's my journey. And it's so important, the places we choose to get advice from.
Yeah.
Right Heart Wrong Hands, the main scripture is Matthew 22. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. Love your neighbor as yourself. Drawing on the strength of relationship first with God, being that vertical to hold everything down, but also relating with other people, because God has not called us into isolation. God has called us to do life, to do this journey with people. And I know that maybe you might not have shared it during the time with your nuclear family, but I'm sure there were people around you, mentors and confidence that you could speak to. And I think that's something, even when we're talking about relationship, I say to young people, get into this habit of building valuable relationships. Not just surface relationship. Oh, we're going out.
That's the thing. Most people relate, but they don't know how to go deep. Most people just relate on the surface. Oh, what are you having for dinner? What did your whatever buy for you?
We're going on holiday together.
How many people can you call your friend you know what?
I'm
I'm going through this with my husband.
Let's hold hands.
I'm going through this with my child. I'm going through this. Do you get how many people can be that real?
That's how God has created it to be, really and truly. Not to do life alone.
Yeah, I agree.
Not to do life alone, because together we are stronger. Together we are better.
I agree.
Not just even the nuclear family of the husband and the wife, but even the people, the community.
Around, yeah.
When I tell people how long I've been in Leicester, they're like, and like, I've built there's a community.
A family.
Yes, a family, and that's the word. Like my children will say, oh, okay, yes, you don't have loads of friends. Okay, I know Sister Jimmy is not your friend. She's your sister, that kind of a thing. So it's about building relationships that can hold you. Even people that aren't married, that you're able to come together to pray one another into your future homes.
Yeah.
Be you a man, be you a woman, not just friends that all they care about. Okay, let's vibe.
Yeah. It's all about party.
Let's party. Let's go out for a drink. Let's
the competition. Oh, I got the latest to this. I got the latest iPhone. I got the latest.
And I think it's important for us to start, because all of these things feeds into the different aspects of our lives, right?
Yeah.
Even our relationship with God, it feeds into our marriage, it feeds into our community, our friendship groups. It can be a lot.
Oh, you can say that again.
It can really be a lot. But in terms of character that we're talking about, so that would be one of the biggest things you would say.
Yeah.
Not just how the person looks, because the way I'm sure this was not how you were looking. I know you're still beautiful, my darling.
I've always been beautiful. I have always been beautiful.
Definitely me. This is not how my husband met me. I was not this size when my husband met me.
No, I was not.
But we have gone through things in our journey that I've been able to support him, and he's been able to support me. And it's been more than just how we look.
Yeah.
And people always say that marriage is not just about love. Because that is that feeling.
Yeah.
Marriage is sacrifice.
Yeah. Marriage is intentional.
Yes. And that's the key word.
It's intentional. It's not about the I can't sleep.
And that's why choosing right. A lot of people have, and this just came to me, a lot of people, their destinies have been altered.
Yeah.
As a reason of their friendship.
Yeah.
Be it, platonic friendships, or even especially with the people they choose to do life with.
Yep.
So there are some people that are living even hell on earth.
True.
Just like some people are in heaven on earth. Not to say that's without, like, I would say I enjoy my marriage. That does not mean that we don't have ups and downs. Like you say you and your husband. Me and my husband, we talk our talk. We talk the talk.
Not with my husband.
Because I'm very passionate and my husband too can be passionate. So if there's something to be said, we have conflict. But as long as the key thing over the years, we have how to resolve those conflicts step by step, and we have learned and will continue to learn how to, because conflict will always arise, how to actually maneuver that. Again, it comes down to the character. It comes down to not just love but respect.
Yeah.
Which for me is a big thing, and I know for my husband is a big thing. And I say to people, respect is not just for men, no, it's also for women.
Preach it, girl.
So, and it starts with us knowing how to respect ourselves, value ourselves, and being in that space to say, I value myself. So I am taking that ownership to say I am due respect.
I always say something. I say, I'm sorry how this may come across, but a lot of the time we give people the opportunity for people to treat
The
us
permission.
the permission
Yes.
for them to treat us the way they treat us.
Yes.
So what are you allowing?
That's it. That's
So
it.
really,
people don't know how to put boundaries in place.
Yeah.
And even in relationship, boundaries should be, which is something funny enough, I was talking to someone, I was saying that boundaries is something that really we need to have a discussion on, but that's something for another time, but very much so. So, Mr. Jimmy, it's been wonderful having this sit down with you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
But before you go, one final question or one final word to people. If you had the opportunity to talk to your younger self, life, relationship, career, everything, what would be one thing you would say to your younger self that you believe that it would be a blessing to the younger generation?
What would I say? Yeah, it is a deep one. I would say, first of all, borrow yourself brain.
Some people might not. Oh.
I mean, you need to. How do I translate that?
Let's get Google Translator.
No, what I'm saying is, you need to
be wise.
You need to be wise.
Yes.
You need to be wise, but in as much as you're wise, you also need to know your value.
That's a good one.
You need to know your value, and as you go through life, I'm not saying you have to be proud, but at the same time, you don't let anybody, especially any man,
being a woman,
treat you anyhow. You don't take nonsense because for example, when my ex-boyfriend broke up with me, I could have been going to cry. Oh, what did I do? Because I spent 3 years in the marriage, and so
or in the relationship more.
I mean, in the relationship, yeah. So I beg. It's not that deep. Walk out with your head held high,
especially before marriage.
Yeah.
Before you get into
Even in marriage, you should know your self-worth. I beg.
Yes.
Don't be any man's doormat. Don't be anybody's.
Yes.
Whether it be you, whether it be anybody, don't be anybody's doormat. And it does not mean you don't make compromises. It does not mean you don't make sacrifices. But it's not that everybody's just throwing everything at you and you're taking it. No.
Because sometimes you see these things even in relationship, even before you get to the marriage. And the way I like what you said about allowing the permission to do stuff to you. When you give people the room, and the unfortunate thing is that it doesn't stop there. Once you give an inch, it keeps moving from that. And then it becomes quite contagious. Then everybody else, even around, feels like, oh, okay,
she's a dumping ground.
she's a dumping ground. It's okay. She'll take it. She doesn't mind. Again, that comes back to boundary that we're talking about. So, Jumoke, thank you so much for today.
It's been my pleasure.
It's been a pleasure having you. And I hope, guys, this has been very, very insightful. Who knows, maybe Sis Jimmy will be gracious again to come back. I know she would. I would ask her. She cannot resist my smile. But beautiful. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share. God bless you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.